Hi, this is AP Stedham of As We See It live here in Atlanta, Georgia, the 2025 SEC Football Media Days with our very special guest to discuss Ole Miss.
That's right. I'm Sam Hutchens, and I write for the Clarion-Ledger, so thanks for having me on.
Hey, Sam, great you're here. Sam, when you speak about Ole Miss, they're going to have the new quarterback, Austin Simmons, so I guess we can start there. What have you viewed from him last year, and how do you think he's going to project as a quarterback in the SEC as the leader of the Ole Miss team?
Yeah, he's an interesting case because last year we didn't see a lot of him, but what we saw was incredibly impressive. He was the first to score when Ole Miss faced Georgia. Jackson Dart got hurt on the first drive, and Simmons, who came in as an 18-year-old kid at the time, came in when Ole Miss was down and led a touchdown drive. And that was kind of all we saw was just that one little snippet, but it was incredibly impressive. And he came in some blowouts too, but so the ticket for him this year will be keeping, we know he can play at an incredibly high level. Can he sustain it over a whole season is the question that we're going in with this year.
Left-hander, right, Sam?
Left-hander, yeah. Caden Lee, talking to him a receiver day, said it's different catching that spin when it's spinning the other way. But I guess they're used to it by now in seeing it in training camp and all that. So, yeah, it'll look a little different on TV, too.
I think it's a little advantage as well, throwing as a left-hander to the other side of the defense. They're tending to lean the other way.
Yeah, it could be. You're not used to on rollouts and stuff. Maybe you're just not used to that. You probably play maybe one left-handed quarterback a whole year or even less. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how some defenses play him.
Who's some of the threats on the outside that will give defensive coordinators nightmares?
Yeah, the one coming back is Caden Lee. He's a receiver who was here at Media's day-to-day, and he's kind of the only sort of guarantee we have because Ole Miss brought in a ton of new wide receivers. The guy I'm watching the most, whose name we heard quite a bit today, is Dejon Stribling. He came from Oklahoma State, and before that, Washington State, but he's a veteran guy on the outside. And he was highly productive as a Cougar and a Cowboy. So Ole Miss got Stribling in the portal, and I think that he'll be big on the outside, along with the tight ends this year.
Yeah, I love a good tight end. You have some capability there at the tight end position?
They have two of them, the Rebels do. One, two guys, Daquan Wright is coming back, and Ole Miss got Luke Haas from Arkansas. So he's coming in. To kind of replace, Ole Miss used two tight ends last year with Caden Prescorn, but he's in the NFL now, or he was a UDFA with the Lions. So they brought in Haas to kind of fill that secondary void. So I imagine we'll see two tight ends featured quite a bit. Yeah.
Sam, what are your thoughts on the offensive line, protecting the quarterback and being able to apply the pressure at the point of attack and knock people down for the run game?
Yeah, that was not great last year, and they kind of switched a bunch coming out. The guy I'm looking at the most is the left tackle Patrick Kutas from Arkansas. He's kind of again, I'm not sure if I certainly know, or even if Lane Kiffin knows who the starting five are right now up front. But I would say that Kutas coming in from Arkansas is a pretty good bet. And the other tackle, Jaden Williams, he was having a great year with all the metrics before he got hurt last year. So I think the tackles, they'll be pretty good. Interior, some question marks. We'll see.
Yeah, Lane Kiffin mentioned that was a possibility in some of their losses, some of the reason that they fell short in those games.
They were Ole Miss lost 3 games last season, and they were all within a score. And a lot of it was because the running back situation was so unstable, and the guy that they were using for the early season last year got hurt against Arkansas. He broke his leg and was out for the season. So once Henry Parrish went down, Lane Kiffin really experimented. He used J.J. Pegues a little bit, a defensive lineman, a defensive tackle in a fullback role. And so this year they're hoping for a more reliable run game, especially with a new quarterback. Austin Simmons coming in, so you got to have a new run game.
Yeah, on the other side of the ball, defensively, they had some high draft choices in the NFL. So can they match that? I mean, this is a different year, different team circumstances, of course. But defensively, what do you think, Sam?
I mean, Lane Kiffin was pretty open at the podium day. He's like, when you set a record for draft picks, Ole Miss did with 8 draft picks last year, program record. It's going to be tough, right, to replace those guys. And the whole defensive line was so impressive last year with Walter Nolan going in the first round, defensive tackle, Princely Umamielen going early, a defensive edge, and Jared Ivey, a DE. going early too on the end. So yeah, they brought in some quality pieces. Deshaun Womack is an interesting player from LSU. It'll be interesting to see how that plays out. They brought in Princely Umanmielena's brother on the outside. Princely was a first-round pick last year. They brought in his brother from Nebraska. We'll see if he's as good this year.
You said it better than I did.
Yeah, I learned how to spell it too. When Princely got drafted, I knew how to spell Umanmielen, and now that they bring in Prince Will Umanmielen, I can keep that tool in my bag.
Awesome, Sam. That's great. Hey, Sam, how do you like covering Lane Kiffin, and what are some of the things that you like to tell people about Coach Kiffin?
Yeah, I think he's very maybe different from how you'd see on social media. On social media, he's so buzzy and active and always raising up a storm. But when you actually, kind of talk to him in a weekly setting, he's certainly interesting and he'll say interesting things. But it's kind of in a muted kind of inward manner that I was kind of getting used to. But I came from covering Mike Gundy. I used to be on the Oklahoma State beat. So he was a lot of fun to cover. And
Right.
The last thing I want is a coach who's just going to be boring, every Monday morning. So Lane Kiffin's certainly not that. So I appreciate it.
Yeah, boring in the South.
Yeah.
It's not accepted.
Not common, no.
Hey, Sam, one more thing you want to say about the Ole Miss team this year? Anything we left out we should mention to the audience?
I guess maybe the thing that I took most joy from today was Austin Simmons is 19 years old, the quarterback of Ole Miss, and he's out here telling people how old he feels because he's been in the system for 3 years, and they brought in so many new guys that it's like, yeah, he's 19, but he has been around the program longer than a lot of people, so it's kind of an interesting dynamic.
Wow, that's fun. Hey, thank you, Sam. Thank you very much. This is AP Stidham live in Atlanta, Georgia at the 2025 SEC Football Media Days, and we want to thank Sam. Thank you so much, Sam.
Appreciate it, yeah.